Real Talk Podcast, y'all. We got two special guests today. I don't know who this guy is right here. I got no clue, but we got Mr. MYLES KOVACS and Mickey Elrod. Mickey's been around here a little bit, but first time MYLES. MYLES, what's up, dude?
What's up, man?
Mickey, come on in.
Come on, Mickey. Come on in. I'm here because of Mickey. Mickey invited me, so.
That's right.
Yeah, Mickey's the man. He's been talking to me about your guys' shop and the dealership and Wild Willies and Akins for a while, and I'm super stoked to be here.
So just first impression before we get into your background, just first impression of the dealership. You pretty impressed with
It's the biggest dealership I've ever been to in my life, and I've been to a lot of dealerships.
That's
super impressive, very busy. Just a class act, great dealership.
That's awesome. I've been plugging and talking about you for the past month because I knew you were coming here, but can you just give us a little bit of, I know this may take a minute, but give us a little bit of backstory about just your upbringing, and then I guess just what you've done and accomplished so far.
Yeah, so I was a street kid from East LA, growing up inner city. Didn't have a lot of money. Didn't think I was going to ever be successful. Couldn't read and write growing up. I had an eye disease called keratoconus, and I was almost legally blind at 11, so I couldn't read. So people just thought I was stupid, or I just had to be tough. So it was different. School was very difficult for me. I didn't excel in school. I was always treated like I was dumb. So it's like for me, getting out of school, I got kicked out of school was a blessing, and started working at a local rim store. At the time, it was called Modern Auto, and it was in Whittier, California, and I was a delivery driver. So that was like my first real job, delivering wheels and stuff like that. Then I started meeting the people within the industry and designing wheels. And I have over 250 designs in the marketplace now. And, fast forward, I did music. I produced this artist named El Presidente de Somos Café con Leche. It was a house song. Pitbull just remade my song this last year. So this song came out in, the early 90s. So I did that, did a, music deal, toured with various artists like Cypress Hill, and, eventually started Dub Magazine, then eventually started TIS wheels and Drop Stars. I used to own Lorenzo wheels and SpinTech wheels too. So I invented one of the spinning wheel adapters. So just kind of going through all the different businesses and just really hustling. I was never a businessman. I was learning how to do business by hustling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Was it just kind of what you had to do, or were you always a car guy? When that first job that you had, was it because you had a passion, or you had a draw to the automotive industry, or?
Yeah, I think, when you grow up inner city, the people that have the nice cars get the hot chicks, they're rolling, right? So when you're young, you're like, I'm going to be like that guy one day. Whatever he's doing, I'm going to do, because I want to be just like him. And those are the role models that we had. So for me, there was that sexiness about the cars. And what I really liked was that you could customize your car in a very unique way. And it's like one of the only industries where they praise you to be different.
And that's the beauty of what we're doing here, and what I believe in is the individuality is what makes everyone so special and unique. It's just that we can all be our own person, and being a little different, that's okay. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, and that's how trends are made, right? So you got to be that disruptor. You got to try different things and things like that. And what I really like too is it brings people together.
Yep.
So when people are customizing cars, when they have a passion for automobiles or rims or whatever it is, engines, it brings them together, and it's like, it's such a family. It's like, wow, they like the same cars I do. They like the same rims. They wear the same clothes. They talk the same, So it brings in that real family environment. And that's one thing that always drew me to car culture. Definitely. It's like no matter where you're from, what's going on, if you like that car, you're going to like that car, whether you're a 4-year-old kid or a 100-year-old person.
The correlation of sports and the automotive industry, to me, are very similar in that, you can find a common ground in loving me and passionate about those things.
Absolutely.
It's big.
Yeah.
Now, Mickey, can you tell us a little bit about your history and with Akins and just everything you got going on with us?
Well, I worked here for years.
How long, Mickey?
Well, according to the staff, he didn't work, so he was employed here for years.
I was around for 10 years or so. And then just got with ATD and learned that business and got a territory, and my family was in it. So here I am back up here and saw this opportunity, wanted to get MYLES you guys. I just kept telling that you got to get here.
Yeah.
This place is unbelievable.
No, he's been pumping it up for a while. So thank God my schedule was, open and I was able to come out here. Super impressed. Impressed.
It's like,
what is it, like 70 acres or something like that? I mean,
yes.
it's,
Mr. Akins just bought 10 more acres, so now we're over 70 officially. And the thing about him that I love, that him being our leader, is like the vision he has and the drive he has really kind of facilitates what I have inside me too. It's like, okay, he's ready, he's going, he's giving us opportunities. He's facilitating us by giving us more space, more structure, resources. So that's like, I love working for someone like that. You got to take it
to that next level.
I love that. That's cool. That's really big.
That's inspiring.
Yep. Now, so I've told you this many times, but so the first vehicle I ever had was a Chevy Tahoe. It had Dub stickers on the side, and I was all into you. So like for me to be sitting here with you right now, like awesome. It's awesome. It's great, man. So Thanks, man. I really appreciate what you've done for the community and just everything you stand for. That's
Thanks.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't easy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day when we were doing that, putting rims on cars and, 26s, 30s, whatever. Everyone's like, yo, you guys are ruining cars, But I'm like, you don't understand. Like, this is what is going on in the streets, So we've always been like ambassadors for the street. So whatever is going on in street culture, we're going to push it. We're going to go out there and we're going to basically be the mouthpiece for the whole industry and get people excited about it, So when I first started Dub, my goal was to get people excited about street culture. Like I wanted to make sure that one day the president of the United States was rolling on 22s, whatever, like Obama did. He had a Chrysler 322s. It's like, if it wasn't for us doing those things, especially with celebrities and things like that, like the early days, the OEMs put TVs in their headrests or 20s or 22s or 24s because we were already doing it. We made it popular on, Dub Magazine, MTV Cribs, BET, all the shows and stuff that we're doing in product integration with celebrity, because I remember thinking back like, well, you have Jordan for the shoe industry, but there's no Jordan for the wheel industry, which to me are car shoes. So when I started Dub Magazine, I wanted to create that and get like Snoop Dogg and Shaquille O'Neal and LeBron James to endorse the car shoes. And it actually worked, So I ran that for 22 years and then sold it. So, I mean, it was a wild ride, from start to finish and just really learning business on the fly.
Definitely. I remember growing up, going to the grocery store with my mother. I would have to get a trucking magazine and a Dub magazine. Those are the two, and a Dirt Wheels.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
so I had to get those three, and so that was kind of the staple. So starting the Dub magazine was obviously that was a big task. So the foundation for that was, I guess, just getting those people of influence to be in the magazine by putting those wheels on there and so forth. Is that kind of how that evolved and started?
Yeah, I knew that because back then there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was barely even web, right?
Yeah.
No one had a cell phone with video on it. So there was like no videos, no photos, no nothing. So we were kind of the Instagram for the marketplace. Like when Kim Kardashian came out on the cover of Dub, I think we were the first cover of Dub or cover of a magazine. She talked about on her show like a couple months ago that we're her first magazine cover or one of them. So it's really dope to be able to work with all these artists and celebrities and things like that. We had Kobe Bryant on the cover before he passed, all that stuff with his Lambo, and just really, really cool, times in pop culture. We were able to document those things before all these pages and all that stuff existed. So, for us to have that, just to be involved was exciting, right? But for us, we knew that we're taking our culture and getting it popularized all over the world. So when they watch MTV Cribs and even Asia or, in Latin America or Europe, we're pushing that. Hey, you should be rolling this car on these rims. You should have an Escalade on 26s, So even when like David and Victoria Beckham, the soccer player and Posh Spice, came to America, we built 6 cars for them. So, we built the Bentley, we built the Porsches, all that stuff. So just having those celebrities like that, A+ list celebrities rolling your stuff with their brand on the car and stuff like that. All the paparazzi photos have our logos in it. It was just really, really cool.
It's always, that's amazing. It's really been big to me. I've always been a big wheel guy. Obviously, if you're off-roading, the smaller wheel has a place, but I've always enjoyed the big wheel segment because the bigger you go, the more mature those spokes look. You know, just like
design is proportion and contrast, right?
Yes.
So if you feel like the fender well's too big for that wheel and tire, it doesn't look as good. So proportionately, the larger wheels fit the fender well better, especially as they progress. All the new cars have huge fender wells.
Yep.
You know, that's what made the Chrysler 300C so popular. Fit 22s from stock, you know. And the only thing else that, you know, not even an S500 could fit 22s without rubbing at the time. 7 Series BMW, 96 Impala. Those were the only two cars that you could stack a 22 on there without rubbing. And that's what made that car a hit. You know, looked like a Bentley, all that stuff. And we helped launch that car with Chrysler when they first launched the Chrysler 300, the Charger, the Challenger. You know, Dub Magazine, we did the Dub Edition 300, the Dub Edition Charger.
I remember that.
We did all the marketing with Snoop and, you know, 50 Cent and G-Unit. We were placing the cars in music videos. Like, so there was just a lot of stuff going on. But again, there were very limited avenues of media. So we were trying to like figure out how to, one, do cool stuff, and wow, we can make a little bit of money doing it. And that's really what we started. We were doing product integration and doing, you know, influencer marketing for free just because it was kind of easy for us in the beginning. Then we realized as a business, well, we could make money doing this. Then we started charging. So
there you go.
Yeah.
People don't really understand or appreciate the power of gaining someone's attention. I mean, like it's what I take pride in. If you can gain someone's attention, then you have all the power in the world. So it had much respect to you for back in the day. Like now it's a lot easier. You got phones that you can just boom. But back in the day, it had to been much harder just to get in front of the face of people by the way you were doing the marketing.
Well, think about it right now. You want to talk to somebody, you could DM them.
Yep.
We had no DM. So it's like if you didn't know somebody that knew them, you could never get to them. And then, you know, to try to get a phone number or whatever it is, impossible. And it was so difficult to talk to people, like so difficult. Dating, we have to actually go out, like, you know, talk to somebody, this and that, right? That wasn't like what it is today.
Right.
So it's totally different. You know, it was a different world. But again, we learned so much about kind of media and what was going to happen and transition to the social media age and the, you know, the true web age. Like I said, when we first started, it was like nobody had cameras, you know. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough to start a business and stuff like that. Now anyone could start a business. You could go on Amazon, you could go on Etsy, you could go on Facebook Marketplace, you could go on so many places without having to buy a store or, you know, even hold inventory and things like that. So it's totally a different world today. Times
have changed, but just having the adaptability to be able to switch it up. Mickey, what do you see as far as on your end? Is a 20-inch wheel the most popular sales wise, or is it vary, or
it's bigger?
Yeah. I think our number one wheel for TIS this last year was 22 by 12. So that's our number one seller. But, you know, a lot of it, we didn't have a lot of offering in the smaller sizes, 17, 18, 20. Yeah. We have a lot more now. So we've been really launching and really, you know, prioritizing that non-lifted marketplace, because a lot of people don't want to put a lift on anymore. Yeah. They want to level it. They want to stock. They don't want to rub. They just want the look. They don't want to have to trim stuff and things like that. So we've been really concentrating on that as a brand and more performance, off-road performance.
I've noticed that in the past 2 years with y'all, and that's been good from the I mean, I kind of towed the line between the fences of aftermarket and OE. I try to bridge the gap because I get both sides of it, and I'm just trying to, from a perspective of the dealership, and trying to do a lot of our lot vehicles that are more conservative, and then try to push the envelope by, like, I'll throw something out there that's got 12 wides or a little bit more aggressive, and you get a lot of pushback there, but then it sells, and it's just like you're just slowly trying to transition that. Yep. So that's really been interesting. But I just really appreciate seeing the TIS, who, you know, prior to 2 years was all 12 wides, and I see the 10 wides.
It was the big stuff, right?
Even
the mock rolls.
Yeah, even the 9 wides plus offset, and then the 17s. So that's just been good to help grow things on our end, and give us more ability to promote y'all's brand, and some good looking wheels though. Like the product speaks for itself.
Thank you.
Like the 544 BM, like probably one of the still, is that y'all's number one SKU?
Number one seller still. Yeah, I designed it 9 years ago. So yeah. 9 years ago. Yeah.
Are you have your hand, I guess, your final say so, or all the way through on these wheel designs?
I work on the designs constantly. So yeah, I'm working on I have 250 plus designs out. I probably have another 100 something in the back, you know, that I'm working on in the lab at all times.
The 544 from my perspective, it looks like a forged wheel, great price point, just a solid wheel option. And then just the different colors is great. But I ran that like 6 years ago. I'd still run it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like kind of a timeless wheel option.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is, you know, I'm older, I'm 50, right? So I started in this industry when I was 16. So history will repeat itself. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be, you know, like late 80s, early 90s fashion, kind of what's going on. What are the people wearing? What are they listening to musically? What finishes and stuff are people looking for? So I predicted that, you know, forge is popular. People like the bright finish. You know, the black and milled was starting to become more popular again.
Yep.
And then we did the lip writing, added a little bit more milling than what kind of everyone else was doing, and it paid off. But at the time, our distributor didn't want to make it like that. So it was a battle. Like anytime there's greatness, there's always some kind of major battle going on prior to, like, it wasn't going to even happen. Right. So the 544 almost didn't even exist.
Because of the TIS off-road being too bold, I guess?
It was that and the size and stuff that we were working on and things like that in the design. They thought it was too much. And I was just like, nah, like that's what people want. You know, if you're going to go mill a rim, you're going to go get a forged wheel. It's all milled out. That's what people are paying $1,500 a wheel for. So if we could go and do that for under $500, we're going to win the market.
Yep.
And that's what happened. But that rim almost did not exist
because the simulated milling, you know, that's kind of gotten played out. So I thought that was a good bold statement to do that, and obviously it paid off. So again, just kudos to you. That's awesome, man. Maybe there should be a Wild Willies TIS on that.
Yeah, maybe we should, right?
Somebody told me that would be a good idea.
Let's do it.
I don't know. If you're watching, like, let me know what you think about that.
Yep.
Would you buy that? I think it would be really awesome.
Yeah, let's do a Wild Willies custom edition TIS, limited. That way people could be of like one of 100 sets, right? That way it's unique, right? And people are looking for unique finishes, unique styles, things like that. So yeah, chime in if you're listening and you want some unique wheels, something that, you know, only 100 people have. It's like, you know, it's like shoes. When they launch the launches of shoes or they launch the remakes of Jordans, they're doing limited numbers because people want that. You know, people pay extra for that kind of stuff.
It's just being exclusive.
That's it.
So I've always felt this, but you can validate this for me because you're a trusted word and voice. So when you see like the F-150 Platinum and the Platinum, all the top tier lines now, they are standard with 22s.
Yep.
And so that's solely because of the aftermarket market has impacted that.
Yeah,
Correct? Why else would that be, right?
Yeah, I think, well, it's, you know, at the time we were pushing for it to be fashionable because it was fashionable on the street. Once the actual car manufacturers saw that it actually looked good and people wanted it, and they saw the aftermarket wheel sales, they're like, okay, we're going to adapt to that. We're going to put TVs in the headrest. We're going to put TVs in the dash. We're going to go out there and make the stereo systems better. We're going to put like body, like spoilers on vehicles and accessories, right? All the big badging and stuff like that. Those are all things that we would have done aftermarket. So the OEMs saw what we were doing and said, hey, we're going to end up doing that to enhance our vehicles, make the actual fender wells wider, you know, have the wheels sit a little bit more flush. If you look back in, you know, say 15, 20 years ago, the wheels sat really far in.
They did. Yep.
So if you wanted it to look good, you have to sit it out. Now, all the trucks sit out pretty good. I mean, they're all, you know, high offset wheels, but they have the axles going all the way out for rollover.
Yep.
But they're actually filling the fender wells really well. So proportionally, they look good. They look good.
They do.
I think the key thing for those trucks is, for us, a lot of our wheels have lip on there. All the OE wheels don't have a lip. So that's the saving grace. So hopefully they're not listening, right?
Exactly. But, you know, I guess in their testing, if you're running a low profile tire on a 22, they're obviously testing the ride quality and handling characteristics of that, and I feel like that still presents a really good ride quality and handling characteristic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
I mean, the tire technology is so more advanced. I mean, look back in, you know, like the 80s and, you know, 90s and stuff, people were on bias ply, super swampers and intercoats, and there still are, right? But the radials and just the quality of tires now today and the tread wear and all that stuff. I mean, it's on to the next level. The load ratings. I mean, it's just like I said. There's a lot of science backing it now. To where before, it was fashion, some science. Now it's all science.
Definitely. And that's so my dad's 70, and he's old school, and so he sees that on a 150 Platinum.
Mickey's old school too, right here.
Yeah, Mickey.
He's a progressive old school.
Progressive. You still working on him a little bit?
He's like a resto rod. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm telling him, like, he's like that. It was 22. There's no way that ride's good. I'm like, Dad, it's science now.
Yeah. Well, it really comes back to if the truck has a really big fender opening and you have a 22, but you have a meaty tire, it's going to ride good. It's when you're running on rubber bands, obviously, it's going to get rougher and rougher. But off-road especially, bigger diameter, it still rides pretty good unless you get some ridiculous sizes. But, I mean, one of the most popular sizes we have out now is a 22 by 10 plus 10, because you could run that on a stock vehicle without rubbing. That's and right. You can run a nice tire on there.
And speaking of that, we have 2 F-150s on the lot, Kovacs, with your wheel on it.
There you go.
And we have 3 Super Duties. So those will all be at the show tomorrow. But that's been the sweet spot for us on Super Duties, is doing like a 2.5-inch level, 37s. So you got plenty of supple sidewall, the 22 by 10 plus offset. Those are like clockwork. We'll sell one of those every 48 hours.
Yeah, and that's really where the market's been going. Obviously, there's going to be these wild builds and, really wide stuff and like, the bro dozers and things like that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, people want something that they could, drive to the store and not worry about, no shaking, no issues with any kind of rubbing and things like that. So that's what we're really focused on, to deliver that package, that OE type fit with aftermarket styling.
Definitely. And it's it's interesting to me because I've again have been in sales and managed on the car side a lot, just seeing their perspective, and then me also just loving accessories, the custom side for forever too, trying to bridge that gap of changing the mentality of, okay, so we can put 22s and 37s on a Super Duty and actually ride better than stock and still be an everyday driver, because so many people I think still to this day, even on the accessory side, say that, well, you got to go 6 inches to run that setup. Well, it's the equation about the diverse wheel options. You can really dial in what you're looking for based on that wheel. So the wheel is like the foundation, Yeah,
I think a lot of it is offsets. Are you running fender flares, things like that, to offset the look of the vehicle? So there's a lot more options today than there was even before, and we're focusing on giving people even more options. So, and as the trends go on and on, we're never going to stop developing. We're going to listen to what people want, understand it, and try to build things that are progressive and look good, for those applications.
My man. I think I read a while ago that weren't you a part of the production of MTV Cribs as well?
So we provided a lot of vehicles and cars and homes for MTV Cribs and things like that as well. So it was myself and our staff and our team. So it was awesome again to be on the forefront of media.
What a show that was! I was
amazing.
I was consistent watching that show. That was great.
It was amazing. Yeah. So I mean, we did a really good job with that. You'll see in like all the older footage. If you Google like best scenes of MTV Cribs, when it shows all the cars, it has dub stickers on there and stuff like that. So, I mean, we use that as an avenue to promote our brand, the lifestyle, everything else.
I mean, I didn't know it, but you were selling me like that. Why did I put a dub sticker on my first vehicle? Because I was sold already. I'd seen it so much, I wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, so what was interesting is kind of like Nike, right? You have Just Do It.
Yep.
So that's like the consumer brand. They're going to do it. The Nike swoosh was associated with celebrity. So for us, it was the dub brand was the celebrity. So we put that with all these big celebrities, Shaq, Snoop, whatever, Tony Hawk, whoever it was, right? So they were branding that logo. Everybody wanted that because it was iconic for the DUB sticker. And then 20 Inches Strong was our Nike Just Do It brand. That's where it came from. So we're like, right? So we model ourselves after Nike. We model ourselves after all these different famous companies and things like that are out there. Look at their business model and say, okay, this is their consumer-facing brand. This is their image brand. How do we go and capitalize on that with our products in the marketplace?
I'm going to be 40 this year, so we have a lot of young listeners as well. So I try to also just interject anything that I've learned over the years. So I guess if you're listening to Miles right now, like, don't try to recreate the wheel. Just look at look at where you're trying to get at. Look at other people that are successful and try to model what they're doing and try to make it even better.
Yeah, but the key to advice is, like, say, for example, if we wanted to start, Coca-Cola today, you got to start where they started. They sold, like, I think 50 barrels in 1 year. That's where they started. So if you could sell 50 barrels in 1 year or 50 products of anything, you could be the next Coca-Cola. The problem is no one's patient. They don't want to start in the beginning.
Amen.
They want to start where they are today. And you're going to need $100 million, $1 billion, whatever, to get it out there and actually start some momentum, to where if you're willing to go and start it like they did with 50 barrels and one person selling the barrels out of their back of their truck, then you could be the next Coca-Cola. But a lot of people, again, they're either not focused, they're lazy, they have excuses, they don't want to, whatever. They just want to go from, from zero to CEO. It's tough, And I tell people, I encourage people, go work. Figure out how that business runs. If you go work at McDonald's, don't sit there and be pissed off and serve fries. Figure out how much that burger costs, how much those fries cost, how much do you cost the company, what overhead they have. But most importantly, how do they make it better? So you could go next turn, start your own burger place and actually do really well, right? So everything is a learning experience.
Definitely. Just trying to continue to contribute to your everyday betterment. Just try to get a little bit better each day. But just amen to being patient. Mm-hmm. I guess with the social media, with the phones now and everything, and the Instagrams, everything appears to be overnight success.
Well, well, we live in a one-click world, right?
Yes.
So people expect to have one click and then boom, it just happens. So, and then they get really kind of depressed when it doesn't happen so quickly, and it's tough. Again, it's when you see all these musicians and celebrities, basketball players, whatever it is, athletes, they're So, I think it was LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Tiger Woods had one thing in common: 50,000 hours of practice on their craft. So if you're not willing to put in 50,000 hours into your craft, and your craft is what your God-given talent is, not what you want to do. So if you identify your God-given talent and you go put 50,000 hours on it, you'll be the best in the world. The problem is most people don't identify their talent, or they think their talent's too easy for them, so they don't work on it. So you work on your weaknesses. When you work on your weakness, you'll be mediocre. If you work on your actual true strengths or God-given talent, you'll be the best in the world. And that's just, so I encourage people to work on their strengths, not their weaknesses.
My man.
Yeah.
I love that. That's good. Look, I got chills thinking about that. That's good. That's good stuff right there. That's great stuff. As far as SEMA, let's talk about SEMA just for a little bit. I know you've been a part of that. Just tell about your history and experience with SEMA and how you've been able to help.
My first SEMA show, I was 17 years old, I think, or something like that. Walking into the show, I couldn't even walk in the casino floors because I was too young. So just going to that show and seeing how massive it is, and just all the trends that happen there and everything else, and just such a big community. It's the largest B2B trade show in the United States. It's the largest trade show in the United States, period. They do well over 1 million square feet of exhibit space, and I think it's millions now. And it's just a massive show. We still go from a marketing perspective. I still, support it as a vendor. I do a lot of volunteer work for the organization. They're doing amazing stuff.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Can you and you've been on the board in the past?
Yeah, I've been on the board of SEMA and stuff, and I've been on a lot of committees, and just really volunteered a lot for this industry. And part of it is the industry's done so much for me. I'm 50 years old, so it's like, for me, I want to give back to make sure that industry's still there for the younger generation to benefit from, like I did. I've been blessed. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
When you were going back a little bit, when you were younger, when you were putting wheels and tires on vehicles and whatnot, I guess, did you have a fire in you that said, okay, I like this. This may be my niche and calling, and dive in there, or did circumstances happen you had to? Like, what, when you were younger, did you have a?
Well, I think it was, I kind of had to. 1, 2, I wanted to, and then 3, I think I've been successful because I'm curious. So I've never stopped learning. So think of yourself when you're young, you're like a sponge, you soak it up. Then when you get into a teenage years, you become styrofoam, you repel everything. So you're not absorbing anything. So I was doing that, and then I realized like I need to go back to being a sponge. So once I started doing that, and I realized that I was going to advance quicker because I'm learning more quickly, and I wasn't a good student, I was considered dumb, right? So by me absorbing this information and doing things and being around things that I'm passionate about, it helped me excel. So that's why for me, I encourage people. It's like, dude, not everybody's smart at, books and organization stuff. Some people are better at magic. Some people are better at science. You just got to figure out, again, what you're good at, and you got to go after it. And the key thing is you can't make excuses. I've been blind twice in my left eye. I had 2 coronary transplants. I still race motocross. I raced in the Baja 1000. I did business, with all the major companies in the world like PepsiCo, Anheuser-Busch, and, Monster Energy, all the different car companies, Ford. And I was blind. And, going in these offices and feeling stupid because I'm a street guy, meeting with the top people in the world, the smartest people in the world, it's intimidating. But I just went in there saying, you know what, I'm going in here to learn. Like, I'm not going in there to teach them, and I'm going in there to learn. I want them to school me. So I remember going to the first meetings with Ford Motor Company and things like that. And I was talking to Chrysler, Ford, GM, all the different companies, Toyota. And I walked in and I heard them talking acronyms and talking about all this, jargon from car companies. And I would go to the next meeting and I would reiterate what I heard. And everyone would go, that guy knows what he's talking about. I didn't know what I was talking about. I was mimicking everything that was going on from very brilliant people. And people liked it. But one thing that I had was, I was street smart. That's intuition and common sense. They don't teach you that at Harvard or MIT. So if I could take my street smarts and get educated, I could be smarter than most people. So I took what was considered my nail in my coffin and made that into my silver bullet. And that's what I pride myself on today. It's like I could kind of read the room. I tell people, since God took my sight, he gave me vision, right? Those are like my spidey senses. So I'm able to see things differently and feel things differently than most people. I listen to that. You have to listen to that. So when you have disabilities, it creates extraordinary abilities. And that's part of the thing that you got to exercise. Thinking, feeling, getting your emotions in check, all that stuff. I spend a lot of time every day just trying to stay sane in my mind because I push myself so hard mentally.
Amen to that.
Right.
Like this
Last
guy.
night he told me, I just put my mind to it and I just did it.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of it is just, you don't know any different, and it's like I end up learning how to get up quicker than I get knocked down. I already knew I was going to get knocked down. And I made a lot of mistakes in my business life, personal life, everything, but I learned from those. And when you learn from those, again, you're less likely to make it again, or you're not going to make the same mistake. And you just go and you minimize, right? It's like going in and signing my first music deal. I knew I was going to get screwed, right? Everyone gets screwed, but I was going to get screwed less. So I just try to negotiate the best deal to get screwed less. And that's that mindset that I go after, because nothing's perfect, man. You're never going to do the perfect deal. You're never going to have the perfect time. You got to just launch and learn. And then understand that you're, as a business or as a person, you rather make a quick decision that's wrong than no decision at all. Because if you make a quick decision that's wrong, you could actually make the right decision to repair that. But you don't know what's right or wrong until you actually try it. And that's just the bottom line. So a lot of very successful companies, Google, Tesla, all these guys, they make really quick decisions, informed decisions, but they don't procrastinate. They don't go out and fight each other and things like that. So in businesses, you see, if they take too long to get a decision made, they divide the company into two. But if you make a quick decision, they have no chance to fight. So you go and, hey, that didn't work, then you go down the other way. It's not a matter of being right. It's a matter of doing what's right for the business or for yourself. So it's about quick decisions and quick movement. So you could either repair, make good, do whatever, take it to the next level. So it's a lot of movements. And think about yourself as like a snowball. If the snowball stops, it stops accumulating, right? It doesn't get bigger. So the whole goal is just to keep it rolling as fast as you can. Uphill, downhill. And it's those tough times when you're pushing it uphill, that's when everybody wants to quit. But that's when the opportunities are like right around the corner. like right around the corner. And I'm living proof of that. Every time I want to quit, I wanted to commit suicide, whatever it was like there was a blessing right around the corner for me. And I just learned, like, I just got to, like, make it through that day, make it through that moment just to get to the blessing. So
that's big. Kind of like the analogy of you're digging for gold and you get within 6 feet and then you quit. Just
and most people, they don't know. And, for me, it's really about what did I learn through that experience? Like, what did it teach me? How did it shift, or how did this validate what I'm feeling? And that's a big thing too. When you're working and doing stuff and things happen, you're like, well, I knew that was going to happen. It builds your confidence, and we need that. We need those validation points. As a manager, I try to give validation points to my staff and our team and even my partners and things like that. Sometimes to my wife, but
once you can stack some wins on top of each other, you really can get some positive momentum.
That's all it is, but you can't win all the time. You're going to lose. And sometimes retreat is a form of strategy. So sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward. Sometimes you got to go lateral to go forward. You got to play the long game, and that's why they say this is checker. No, this is chess, not checkers, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. You have to have a strategy.
And having the courage not to worry about other people's opinion, just know that you're trying to do the best you can.
I mean, I tell myself every day I'm stupid, fat, short, whatever, ugly, and it doesn't matter anymore. Like we talk about meeting people, I'm like, they're smarter than me anyways. Who cares? Like I just go into the room like that. It doesn't matter, because I'm there to learn. I actually want to learn, and then I want to take what I learned to try to take whatever I'm doing to the next level.
Well, Miles, you're definitely smart. You're not dumb. I can tell you that right now, my man.
I get it from my man Mickey right here. Right, Mickey?
That's it.
It's the barbecue we ate today.
That's it. Where'd y'all eat at? Where'd you go?
What place did we go to?
Smoking Po' Boys?
That's it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good?
It was good, yeah.
It's just a good local spot there.
Yeah.
It is.
We were both almost sleeping in the car after.
It'll put you out.
Yeah, it was good.
I don't go there
really
much because it definitely kills my afternoon if I do. I kind of get the dragging,
But I'm actually hungry. I want to go eat there again.
That's right. Yeah. Try something different maybe. I got chopped chicken is pretty good too.
No, that's what I had.
Is that what you had?
I had chicken and the pork. I told them the chicken was really good.
Yeah, it is really good. It is. What you were just talking about, I feel like that school in general, I have a junior right now. School in general kind of doesn't set you up to have that broadness, that open mindset to go attack and do something. I feel like school for me, or first of all, my parents were always like, you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree to go into the workforce to do something you probably don't even like to do. So I feel like that your path was a blessing because it kind of led you in a direction that you were meant to be in. So do you understand what I'm saying as far as like school can kind of sometimes?
No, I mean, I'm a firm believer in pro education, right? Sure. But I didn't go to school. I barely went to high school. I graduated with 3 periods of auto shop, and I'm saying if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have graduated with it. So having auto shop saved me on that. I went to 2 semesters of college. I was working at a show truck, a dually, 91 extended cab dually, all hooked up, and they tried to steal it. That was the last time I went to college.
Dang.
They put a screwdriver in the door handle. That was the last day I went to college.
It's done.
That was it. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's like people make an excuse about not going to school or going to school. That's just an excuse.
Sure.
At the end of the day, if you're passionate about what you want to do, it's passion that wakes me up in the morning. I wake up before my alarm clock, because passion wakes me up in the morning. And that's just and I'm 50, so, right? When you're 50, you're early riser, right? I mean, this guy probably sleeps in, right? This guy's an anomaly.
What time do you get up, Nick? What time do you get up?
It depends. But, I'm saying it's like, it's having something to look forward to. That's happiness. And life is simple. Having something to look forward to is happiness. Amen. Knowing you could survive no matter what is confidence. Those 2 things, if you can manage those things, life is easy.
Amen. I've been in the car business for 16 years. My entire 20s, or mid to late 20s, I was sales and so forth. And I knew that I loved the car business and people and everything about it. But in the back of my mind, I was not fulfilled because I knew there was something else there was like something was missing.
Yeah.
And once I got on the accessory side, it really lit a fire under me, and it's really changed my life completely. So I guess it's just the long game of staying persistent. If you know there's something there, then keep on digging, keep trying to figure out what that true niche is for you.
Well, you might not like where you're at, but you're always where you're supposed to be.
That's right.
And that's just it. And then things will happen. You know, again, it's like for me, I try to do as much, you know, mentoring and, you know, giving back and all that stuff if I can, because it's about cosmic karma. You're investing. So I have this quote, life is like a bank account. You can only take out what you put in. Unfortunately, everybody's living on overdraft, right? Because they're not willing to invest in their life. So to me, I'm constantly investing in life and other people's lives so it could come back. So when I need to pull it out, it's going to be there.
I like that.
Right? Save it for the rainy day.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great one right there. What was your first wheel brand? What was the first wheel?
So the first wheel company that I launched was, well, I did designs for other brands and things like that, but the first one I launched was Lorenzo and then Spintech. And then TIS came after that. And then after that came Dropstars. Yeah.
Dropstar specifically more so for the SUV car scene.
Well, when TIS launched, it's 20 inches strong, so it's for the car scene. So it's all lower trucks,
right.
300Cs, SUVs, things like that. And then I saw kind of the market shifting. So I'm like, well, we're going to make TIS a truck brand. And then boom, next thing we did, and it's very successful truck brand.
That was what I was getting to there.
But we're going back to the roots too. So we're going to launch TIS Street. So it's called TIS Motorsports. So you'll see us with a whole new line of car wheels, truck, SUV, you know, Bentley, Rolls Royce. I mean, all the high end stuff. We'll see multi-piece forged. We're going to do TIS forged truck wheels as well. So just kind of looking at what's a cool brand. How can we go out there and really just basically set it up to where we have all this really cool show stuff, and then we have versions of that people can drive every day that are more affordable? Because, I mean, some of the wheel sets we're doing are like $30,000, you know? So, I mean, it's expensive. It's not for everybody. But it's like Victoria's Secrets. They make the multi-million-dollar bra. No one could afford it, right? You know, or no one could get it, but they sell a lot of bras off of that marketing. So we model ourselves after Victoria's Secrets and things like that with making one-off stuff. And it's like the car companies. People love the concepts. They come out with the concept and the car comes out there like, it doesn't look as good. Right?
Yeah.
So for us, when I was doing Dub, I looked at that and like we did a video game with Rockstar Games called Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. We sold 9.6 million games.
I played it.
Just like the toy cars, the Dub City diecast and stuff like that. We sold 25 million diecast toys, you know? So, but for me, it was like, let me take that vehicle and make it look like maybe it should have, or make it look more like the concept. And that's all people want. They want it wider, lower, higher. They want the, you know, everything to fit proportionately. And those are the things that we could do with gaming or toys and things like that without having to worry about anything, you know, on the vehicles and stuff like that. So, you know, and then when we're customizing, we're taking that same mindset, you know, making wide bodies and stuff. Why do we make a wide body? Because we want a deeper lip on the rim, right? 100%. I mean, straight up. We're like, hey, well, we need a wider wheel on this car.
Straight up.
We need a bigger lip. How do we do it? We stick it out and then we put a body around it. Oh, let's do it. So that's how we started doing all the wide body stuff 20 years ago, because we wanted a bigger lip.
That's it.
Yep.
That was behind it. I'm going to be 40 this year. In 96, I was 16. If you had a black wheel at that point, then you had something going on wrong. Chrome was king back then, for sure. And I was rocking chrome wheels back there. So what do you see? Do you see trend? What trends are you forecasting, I guess, over the next 5-10 years? So
the, you know, late or mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, polish was super hot. Brush kind of polish for the truck wheels, even for the car side of it. All the European wheels, Antera, Ozev, Lorenzer, all of them were all silver, brushed silver or silver paint. So that's going to come back like it is now, because that was indicative to that era. So when fashion hits a certain point, that we're in all 80s fashion, 80s car culture will come back hard. Then it's going to be 90s. So start catching up. So we're seeing a lot of chrome for sure. All black still popular, and we're seeing a lot of machined and a lot of polish coming back.
Any will a colored wheel, like a body color wheel, ever would that ever be a?
You know, we launched a custom offering of white wheels, and we sold out. And I tell ATD all the time, like, well, ATD's our distributor. That's where my man right here works. Yep. So come on, bro. We need to make some white wheels.
Come on.
Right?
There's been a few at SEMA this white with blue accent or red as well.
Dude, everyone loves white wheels.
Those are hot, man.
Everyone loves, especially if you have a white car. White wheels look hot with black accents or red or whatever it is. But yeah, white is one of those ones where whenever people make it, it does well, but people forget to make it. It's weird. It's weird.
It is.
Yeah.
So you and I kind of connected a little bit more as far as some of our hobbies. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about just your passion for motorcycles.
Yeah, you know, everyone's like, oh, do you race cars and this? I'm like, no, I race moto. You know, I rode moto since I was 11 and been, you know, riding and racing since then. So, you know, I'm still riding motocross tracks and, you know, I'm 50 now, so I'm definitely not as fast as I used to, but I'm still jumping 60, 80, 100 footers, you know what I'm saying? So going out there, but I try not to race anymore because then I end up riding over my head for my physical ability. My mind and my rider IQ is good. My body can't handle it anymore, you know? So it's just really, you know, putting myself back in my place. And I do that with everything in life, right? You could go out there and you could go 100 and you could hurt yourself, or you could go 75 and really enjoy yourself. And that's one of those things where if a lot of people knew that they could actually save a lot of energy and conserve and still go do it and everything else and really enjoy themselves and make a difference in life and, you know, make a lot of money, whatever it is, they would do it. But they don't understand. They just go 120, they hurt themselves or tire themselves out. Then they usually get hurt after they get tired, right? So it's that long game. But when I was 20, whatever, I was wide open, you know, trying to jump everything because when I landed, nothing broke, you know, meaning my knees or my wrists or anything like that. Now I'm 50. It's like, man, if I land wrong, I'm breaking. The bikes are going to be fine. I'm breaking.
That's right.
Yeah.
In our GNCC races, my son and I do, it's a 2-hour race, and we see it all the time, what you just talked about. There'll be some guys that are super fast, but they'll pass us, but then we'll pass them because they've hit a tree.
Yeah,
they're too wide open. They don't look at the long game of trying. Okay, I'll be consistent for the 2 hours.
Yeah,
2-hour race. So,
and that's business.
That's business.
That's business in life. You got to conserve some energy to be there, and you got to be there. And it's like you got to be there in the fourth quarter to win, right? A lot of people don't know that, so they waste all their energy in the first and second quarter. So you got to look at, even in life, if you're, sub 25, you're in the first quarter of your life. If you're, 25 to say 35, 40, second quarter, third quarter, depending on what your lifespan is. But if you look at that, then you could understand it more like a game, like a athletic game, right? Then you could say, okay, this is my strategy. This is what I'm going to be able to do in life. But the sad thing is nobody strategizes.
They don't.
Yeah.
And I'll be 40 this year. We threw my dad a Lordy Rogers 40th birthday back then, and he was so mad. He was like, I'm getting old. But now, last week I was telling him, actually, I was like, Dad, remember when you got mad about the
You're like, Dad, you're really old now.
Yeah, but I'm like, yeah, like I'm in my, I'm
like
still,
my boy Mickey. How old are you, 70?
My son reminds me all the time, Dad, you're old.
But I give him a hard time because of his attitude about being 40. I look at 40 it's go time. Like I'm still good.
But back then it was a lot different.
It was
too.
different.
I mean, it's different. So it hits a little bit differently for sub 50, 40, except for like my wife. She had it tough when she turned 40. Yeah, it bothered her a lot. I'm like, yo, like you still look good. What are you worried about?
Yeah. The wisdom,
The wisdom.
Everybody gets to be young, but not everybody gets to be old.
Yeah.
You got to look at perspective, I guess.
Yeah, and you just got to appreciate what you have in life, right?
Exactly.
It's like everything changes, right?
Definitely.
Things change, life changes, and at the end of the day, you got to measure your ups with your downs. If you have more ups and downs, you're up.
You're good.
You're good.
You're good. As far as riding,
right, Mickey?
Come on, Mickey.
Hey, come on, Mickey. Yeah, it's
That's right.
Drop some wisdom, Mickey.
We're good.
Come on, Mickey.
As far as the dirt bikes, it's cool to see in the GNCC stuff. They've got every race. There's a 65 plus class, and there's a good.
And they're fast.
They're fast.
Yeah, they're fast. Yeah,
they're fast. So it's been eye opening to me to see because when I was in my early 30s, I was like, I'm getting too old to do this, and my son really brought me back into it. But it was just a mindset error on me. But it's just so great to see that you can ride in this sport for a long time too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's guys racing all the time. I remember one of the pros that got hurt. He was partially paralyzed at the time. Was Jimmy Button. He was factory Yamaha. He was on the teammates with Jeremy McGrath on the Chaparral Yamaha team, and he got paralyzed in San Diego and stuff. And I was talking to him after, and I was like, dude, I'm thinking about stop riding and this and that. He said, you know what? When I was in the hospital, I was the only one in the spinal, wing. It was like a whole hospital for spinal injuries. He was the only one in there in the whole hospital from a motorcycle. He said, most people fell in their bathtub or trip when they're walking. So if you don't want to stop doing that, you're more likely to get hurt doing that than you are riding a dirt bike. And then I kept riding.
And that's been my wife's philosophy too, because she had somebody that her coworker, something like that happened to, something random.
And I almost fell in the bathtub the other night. Let me tell you. Like, yeah, I slipped hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that could have ended me.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, so now I'm going to take a shower with my Balmoto 10 on.
Great helmet, by the way.
There you go.
Great helmet.
Yep.
So the truck show tomorrow. This obviously won't be edited by them, but what are y'all looking forward to tomorrow? I mean, just the fellowship, just what the car scene brings, just the fellowship.
Yeah, looking for the cars, things like that, but most importantly, the people.
The people.
Just meeting people.
That's it.
Seeing the enthusiasm and the passion, all the different ages, and just sharing stories, right? That's what I love. I love to hear people's stories.
And the different things that people do to their vehicles. Because, I mean, you see some unique stuff that you like, and some trendsetter stuff.
Yeah. From my end, it's I try to be not as least cookie cutter as possible. I really want to try to get to know the people that we do business with, to see really what their interests are and what they do with their vehicle, what their weekend activities are, and really try to incorporate that into making their vehicle the most beneficial, but also the most swag, I guess.
Yep.
For their niche.
No, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
That's a big part of it.
Yep.
We've been talking for 50 minutes, y'all.
Yep.
Just like that.
Yeah.
That was good.
We're going to do a short one, right?
Yeah. That's why I said we're going to do a short one.
Is that another short joke on us?
Could be.
He's doing 2 short ones today.
Hey, Mickey.
Yeah.
Before we end this, do y'all have anything y'all like to add or share before we close this out?
Well, you know what? Thank you, Mickey, for bringing me out. It's awesome. Thank you for having me. Awesome, dealership, Wild Willies, the shop, just all the craftsmanship. I was looking back in the build areas of your guys' builds, some of the sickest F450s out there, and just love it. Just the passion here, the people, and I'm super excited for the show.
It's going to be great.
Thank you.
We want to, obviously, what dictates our business the most is kind of what we sell the most of, even though we get a lot of people that are just people off the street that buy something somewhere else or bring us their own current vehicle. But I want more performance. I want more cars. I want more diverse customizations. We are great with the 450s, but I want other brands as well. I want Nissans. I want Chevys. I want everything.
Yep.
So it's just my day to day. Like you, I wake up energized and ready every day just because of what the day may hold and what we can learn and what we can add to the
what
we
need to do, right? We need to pick winners, and we need to customize our cars with TIS, Wild Willies, and Akins, right? Let's do some builds. So if you want to do a Nissan, pick a Nissan. We'll build it. We'll build it together.
Well, Mr. Akins is down for that because we've had this discussion and he's bought a few Chevrolets for us for that very thing.
Oh, he's amazing. Got to spend time with him today.
Absolutely.
Super brilliant guy, and he really cares.
Yep.
Really cares. So definitely, I mean, it's a family environment, and I feel connected to you guys after just being here, seeing what you guys do, everything else. So thank you again for having me. It's awesome.
Been great. Tomorrow's going to be great too. And this is not the last you've heard or seen from Miles. We're going to do more collaborations with him. I'd like for you to help us build maybe one of our next lot vehicle builds.
Let's build a lot build,
Yep.
but let's build a listener's car.
If
you're listening and you want us to build your car, let us know.
Let us know and we'll make it happen, y'all.
Let us know.
Stay tuned.
Yep.
Peace out. Thank you.
All right, Mickey!
Mickey! See y'all.